So, France has blocked us from the rearming Europe scheme. Yes, while at war basically, every day they tell us we're at war with Russia and shouldering all this burden. They said nope, no UK is allowed in. Quickly, I need to explain, but I'll explain more later. But people think it's basically EU money given directly to governments, and they will use that to increase their military spending. And people said, rightly, why is my country just giving money to the UK and they're not paying in? But basically, it's defence contracts. You need parts for some military system. A UK company like BAE Systems can bid to sell it among many others. This is a scheme to boost the European military so it can prepare for a world without the USA protecting it. They also said the UK isn't paying in, so why should they get part of the funds? We would be paying in. It also includes several non-EU countries like Norway and South Korea, so it's boosting European defence, which we're an integral part of, while you'd think we're an integral part of. But just to quickly get it out, because you already know the comments will be the same. And you know, I need to scour the internet to get the reactions of continental EU-Europeans. I looked on the depths of Twitter. Guys, when I tell you they're loving this idea of us getting pie in our face, it's like I didn't even see a comment that said, guys, we're basically at war with Russia and highly vulnerable right now. We need to stick together like leather. But no, it's about getting at them snobby Brits. We're in the Russian category. I hate to say it, but that's all you can take from it. It's not NATO versus Russia or Europe versus Russia. It feels like the EU versus everyone else. This is what Tories like Boris Johnson, looking to promote themselves and pumping fear and deception that Brexit will stop immigration, has got us in this position. And I say, if you're a Brexit voter, you got lied to and it should have never been put to a public vote. The public never had enough knowledge on it to vote. So don't feel bad. Blame the people who lied. But when I tell you this is totally embarrassing, and you will be embarrassed, especially as you learn more, now we think, okay, that's people, but what about the organisation itself? They say it's basically cringe, but no country like Germany or Poland is stepping up to our defence either. You can't tell me they don't put us in the hostile category. Remember, this was supposed to be a relations reset. They say here, we were doing a relations reset. Starmer gave the EU all these concessions with Gibraltar, student mobility and everything, basically reversing Brexit. Then on the first chance for them to step forward and give something back to show we're repairing our relationship, this happens. The door slams shut on your face. I do like Starmer, he's the best we've had in a while, I've said. But is it time to call him Cuck Ear Starmer? Cuck Chair Kia? He has 2 tiers of different cuck chairs. His job after politics is reviewing chairs. He's the best guy for it at this point. You get a review from Kia, you're in the clear, sold out. Because it is what it is. If it works like a duck, talks like a duck, he got absolutely cucked here. Because France said to him, look, we're blocking you now, but you can join this thing after. Just give us fishing rights, and Germany wants student mobility. But Germany just saw France was asking for fishing rights and said, let's get something out of them as well. Is this how our relationships are going to play out? Also, fishing is the one actual Brexit benefit. It's now we have sustainable fishing. Rare Brexit benefit. Imagine one of the few benefits we even got getting taken away from us. Now here, he's getting bullied a bit already. That's what makes this politically harmful, is you're invited into somewhere, someone pushes you and says, give me your lunch money, then you can go in. Prison politics, right? Keir said, okay, this is the right thing to do, amazing for our defence industry and for Europe to get war ready. And to picture, for people who don't know, Keir Starmer is an EU foil. He hates Brexit. He says, look, Europeans are our best allies. They're the adults in the room. I must repair the relationship at all cost. You know, most UK politicians prefer the United States. Starmer prefers Europe. So it's interesting who this happens to. He did that and in fact did a whole new post-Brexit deal. We got some cool stuff like being able to use EU gates when travelling and Gibraltar's in the Schengen area, but the deal was weighted for the EU so Starmer can get these types of things done. Okay, so France takes the fishing rights and says, thanks, but nah, you still ain't in. Still. How embarrassing is that? Imagine parading around saying Europe are our best allies, then the country that's your neighbour, that should be your closest ally on paper, bullies you out of deals and backstabs you. This is a humiliation ritual. It is. And that's why everyone else is okay with it. All the EU Europeans, they want to see us going through humiliation rituals. I don't get how we keep finding ourselves in these situations. Because look, we're a pretty strong country, pretty good economy. How are we getting all these humiliation rituals, one after the other, year after year, day by day, hour by hour? How are we always getting embarrassed, bullied by Europeans as well? Who has a European country bullied without Americans' help since the 40s? That's beyond embarrassing. I get the original sin is Brexit, which is why I don't know how we can work with Europe outside of it, because this is supposed to be street level, even playground level stuff, happening in world politics with our allies. Do we just have to deal with this whole, hey, UK, we have this thing going on, give us X and give us Y, then you're in. Thanks, haha, psych. What the hell is going on? We're getting little broed. We used to have plot armour. It's so nuts to say at this point, but Churchill could say, we're not giving up, we fight Germany till the end, because we'd always come out on top. There was not a doubt in a man's mind that the UK could ever lose at anything, always number one, because of history. Can we take a brief interlude? Even if you think religion is dumb or whatever, even if you hate us, have mercy for a second. Do a prayer for the UK quickly. God was British at one point. I don't know what happened. Pause the video and do a quick one for us. Okay, you're done? Thanks. You know what else? France also said give us a few more 100 million to stop the migrants, when we already given them 500 million pounds. Not monopoly money, not rupees, not even euros, pounds. Think, because you know the saying, 10 people die, it's a tragedy. 1 million die, it's a statistic. You'll work for your whole life and not contribute that much to taxes. Or your friends' family, your friends' of French family. How much hard-earned money was chucked down the drain, extracted to France? This is a thing, really, and will continue being a thing. They're looking for humiliation rituals. They smell weakness and desperation. You're outside the EU and you're a normal-sized country, not China or the US. We're the shacks and you're the food now. And Keir, I'm sorry, because you're doing what every leftist has begged us to do. Come back to the EU with a cap in hand, a sparkle in your eye. They're the adults in the room. They're the bastion of freedom and democracy, Keir. Keir, they've been getting bullied by the Americans. They love to have a staunch ally to help them in defence. Eesh. I do get, they feel like they caught their husband cheating. You want to see your ex in a bad breakup and lose everything. But it makes you wonder, how the hell can we fight Russia if these are our allies? Literally, the first step of rearming, they cucked us. They must see us as a hostile force akin to Russia, like we tried to destroy the EU, rather than being dummies who thought it would stop immigration. To be fair, we did send Farage in there as well. Should I play the Farage clip quickly?
And it has great benefits. No more financial contributions, no more European Court of Justice, no more common fisheries policy, no more being talked down to, no more being bullied, no more Guy Verhofstadt. I mean, what's not to like? I know you're going to miss us. I know you want to ban our national flags, but we're going to wave you goodbye. And we'll look forward in the future to working with you as sovereign.
But should we be thinking about stepping back because they aren't treating us like they need us? Quite frankly, the opposite. They say, oh, we need to cuck them and embarrass them. That's their higher priority. Seriously, Russia will destroy our politics and everything with mass botnets, force separatist attitudes, make us hate each other. If we collapse into that, we have allies who want to see us burn. They can seriously kill us without firing a shot. You invade a country to balkanize it and weaken it into smaller, more unimportant states who can't challenge you ever again. You can do that through the internet now and politician bribing. Think about it, the Scottish or Northern Ireland people who want an ethno-state, who hate being outside the EU, and the separatist political parties using that to get votes and spurred up nationalism. They could see Keir doing all these deals and think we're back on the right track, back into our natural place in Europe. Now they see, oh, we're in a bad negotiation position and they're taking advantage of us at every turn. Being outside the EU sucks even more than I previously thought, and my country is weak as hell. It's too easy for Russia at that point. See, this is the stuff that nobody thinks about, but I'm here to inform you. Our politics are in bad shape. I do wonder how many more hits to the prestige can we take before we crumble. What do we do now? It makes me want to go somewhere like Africa. After Russia/Wagner Palau and all these countries don't want to come crawling back to France, I feel like you get more respect while doing a good thing in suppressing rebel groups and bringing stability. Of course, the same thing could happen to us that happened to France, where they start saying we're stealing resources and it's colonization, although maybe France actually was doing that. Because if this is how they do us, imagine what they do to people who they view as truly beneath them. That would make me go crazy being an African leader dealing with France now that I think about it. But do we throw our toys out the pram or stay? Which obviously they expect us to take the hit on the chin and keep moving forward. Of course, I do like Ukraine also, but we're not being treated as allies to the EU, and we can't fight Russia by ourselves. Russians have the ability to walk through snow barefoot because their government gave all the boots to the military. We don't have that mentality. Every time war with Russia comes up on British TikTok, they say they'd rather go to jail. Our defence industry not being used by Europeans while they're pledging to spend 800 billion by 2030, that's a joke. So we're going to be bleeding money while in economical stagnation. This is how fascism rose after World War I. Bad economics with high military spending. I've mentioned in Foundations of Geopolitics, the Russian plan has been to remove the UK from Europe, and they've beat us in that regard. The relationship is truly ruined. I may need to make a humiliation ritual series because I know what Stan will do, and it's probably the good moral thing is to give a stiff upper lip, continue trying to be one of the boys, but we're going to get routine checks that, okay, you're not one of us, lol bro, is what I feel right now. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. I'm out.